more and more people doing remote work all the time. People are just uh, not wanting to drive to work and wanting to have that flexibility in their life. And if we want to keep the top talent, then we need to provide that flexibility and let them work remotely.
As people leaders, we need to find ways to help people embrace that change, to ride that wind, to get in front of it, so that companies can thrive in this new world.
And more workers don't expect to be at all attached to an employer. At all attached to any employer. They want to work when they want to work, where they want to work. And I see trends of that happening. People are discussing how they're going to change the workplace to meet these existential challenges.
Welcome back.
Oh, Bill.
How are you guys doing right now?
Good.
Doing good.
It's nice to be in air conditioning today. I'm here in Bakersfield, California. It's going to be 102 degrees today. Dr. Bob, and up there in near Sacramento, how's it up there?
Let me check the temperature. I'm inside. I haven't started my air conditioning.
You haven't started it yet today.
I haven't started because in the afternoon gets very hot.
Oh, yeah.
So Lincoln temperature.
Robert's smiling because he's in Southern California. But
My air conditioning has been on since 10 this morning.
I remember when I was younger, my parents, I grew up in Bakersfield area as well, and it was hot. I mean, just as hot, as we have today, and we only had a swamp cooler, and we'd go outside and play in the sprinklers and things like that. And I remember growing up without those things. And then I remembered when I was 14 years old, I worked in a potato shed in the middle of summer. And right then and there, I decided when I get out of high school, I'm going to college. I'm going to get a good job, and I'm going to get paid to work in air conditioning, because this is crazy that I got to be exposed to these elements. So I really, I guess I didn't understand that people could move. So I'm still here in the heat. I didn't learn that maybe I could move somewhere else to where it's cooler climate. Dr. Bob, what's the temperature today?
100 right now.
So later this weekend, though, I'll be in the LA area, and it's going to be much cooler. So I'm appreciative for that. Then this episode, we're going to be talking about the changing nature of work. I kind of tease that story there because I remember how work used to be, and it's very different today. What was it like when you guys were younger? The work you guys had to do?
Well, I started working in 1970 as a was entry-level analyst in a big computer company called Control Data Corporation. Control Data made supercomputers. Control Data computers sent Neil Armstrong to the moon. Those computers were huge. They needed to be located in a big air-conditioned building. The computer processes, central processes, and the disk drives were that high. Okay. They were like cabinets, file cabinets. So they were in this controlled environment, and nobody was allowed to go inside where the computer center was. We have to leave our punch cards. Do you remember punch cards? Compile the punch cards, put it in a box, leave it outside in the window, and the operator, who used to wear a monkey suit, who was inside the computer center, would come and pick up my punch cards and then run it through and process it in the supercomputer. And then after a while, I come back and the printed compilation of the program was given to me. Then I would debug it, check for errors, and then bring it back again. Redo the punch cards, bring it back again. My main concern was I was in Minnesota. In the winter, there was snow and ice on the road. And when in the campus, University of Wisconsin, from my office, teaching assistant office to the computer center was a long walk. And I had to walk in the snow with my computers, the box of cards all compiled and in right order. And I was scared I would slip and fall and all the cards will fall and I have to come back again and recompile. And then when I worked as an analyst, my calculator was a slide rule. Slide ruler. Most of you don't know what a slide ruler is. That's the only calculator we had. In one of the books I read, they trace technology growth with the calculator in mind. The calculator was slide rule or a big, huge machine, NCR machine, where you hit the thing, that was the calculator. And where is the calculator on your smartphone today? It's on your Apple. Mhm.
Yeah,
Apple phone.
my elementary school
iPhone.
teacher, when I was learning math, she would say, don't use the calculator. You need to learn how to do this math on paper, because when you are out of school in your job, it's not like you're going to have a calculator with you all the time. And she was wrong. I have a calculator with me all the time now. So
You know where we are now, Bill?
where are we now?
You imagine, Bob, that you are going to work. Let's say your office layout is you come in to the main door into the building, and then you are in the HR department, and the HR department is located in a suite. There's the main door get to get into the HR department, and then there's the receptionist desk, and the HR reps have their own workstations, and the vice president of HR has an office at the back, the director of HR somewhere else, okay? And the payroll department is there. They have a separate section. That's the office layout. Imagine this in the metaverse, in the virtual world. Just think about this office layout. It's in the virtual world. So, Bob, what you do now, in 10 years from now, in the metaverse, you're going to get up to go to work. You're not going to leave your house. You are going to charge up your avatar.
I'm with you.
And you are going to go to your work. But you are going
Yep.
and represented by your avatar. So you'll come into the main door, go into the HR office. Your avatar will be going to the HR office, go to your desk, sit there and start making phone calls. But it's not you. It's your avatar. You think this is far-fetched?
It's not. It's just years away.
Just saying in 10 years, will be the work. This is where we have come from my slide rule to the nature of work. We are changed so dramatically. It's really mind-boggling to understand this change. And if you don't believe me, just read up on the metaverse. The word universe has changed to a new word called metaverse, which is the combination of the virtual world and the real world together, like I explained to you, Bob. You are going to be going to work. You will go to that HR office on your desk, but your avatar is going to be going for you. But it's you. You'll be engaging in work behavior, but through your avatar.
So, Robert, do you remember when you first started working?
No, I was thinking my story is pretty close to Dr. Bob's. My first job was a data center supervisor after graduating from college, and we worked on a IBM 4341.
Right.
They were this. We had four of them in the room, huge room. It's not like the heat of LA right now. Super air conditioning because you had to keep those rooms very cool. You had to keep them. We kept it below, below 62 in there, and we had platters that we had to change inside the disk drives. We don't. But at that time, we had these big platters, looked like albums, and we had to physically change them. But in the new metaverse, moving forward, yeah, it's going to be we're going to be going to this virtual room, doing our job, but never leaving our office at home.
You are going to be going to that room, going to your office. You are
Yeah.
going to still go
Yes.
to your office,
Yes.
but you are not going to go to your office.
Right.
For those of you that are watching us right now, you see my actual physical um, home office right now. Robert, I'm assuming that's your home office.
Mhm.
Dr. Bob, I don't think that's your home office, right? Behind you there.
No, that's my background.
So you're half metaverse, half actual verse.
Exactly.
What is the opposite of the metaverse? The universe? Uh,
Universe, yes.
Yeah.
Metaverse, what they are saying, by the way, billions of dollars are being invested in this. Not millions, billions.
Yeah.
The company has made a commitment to go into the metaverse in the future. Marketing, everything will be done on the metaverse. Now, the really metaverse is just a combination of the physical world and the virtual world meshed into one.
Mm-hmm.
That is the metaverse. I just gave you an example of what the metaverse is. Bob is going to go to work, but he's not going to go to work. He's going to go to work in the metaverse. His avatar is going to go to his office desk.
Yeah, so you were just the nature of work is changing, has been changing, is going to continue to change. These are within we have these five different ideas of how things have changed. Technology being that very first one. You mentioned the slide rule calculator, and I think I heard you say that you used to walk uphill both ways in the snow.
Yeah.
Is that the way you said it? Okay.
I
So,
was worried about slipping and dropping my IBM cards,
correct.
punch cards.
I think it's funny that you were worried mostly about dropping the cards rather than getting hurt. That you just not, you were so
This
young,
was
you didn't think you were
extraordinary
capable of
effort.
being.
Hey, Bob knows that he was a data center employee. He knows that there were these boxes, right?
Yeah.
Where you put in these cards in the right sequence.
We had a data entry team that used to punch out those cards,
Yeah.
and then we take them into the computer data center, run them
That's
through the hopper,
right.
and that would read the cards. So if you drop those cards, it's a mess. You can get in big trouble, possibly fired.
Exactly. That's why
So
it's the word.
yeah, it sounded like both of you kind of did the work that now machines do, right? So technology has eliminated the need for that job altogether. Those big data centers or computer centers, it was like a large room to fit what's in this top left here, these personal sized computers. And now we have, laptops and cell phones. These things are what you're describing. They used to be in a whole massive room. Is that right?
No, the data entry was done with punch cards, and Bob knows there were also a little later into the process, they had intelligent terminals, where you go to the terminal to input your data, right? Right, Bob?
That's correct. Yes.
Data terminals, they call them. There was no desktop computer, standalone mobile computer. The mobile computer started in the mid to let me see, yeah, 80s,
Early
mid
80s.
mid 80s.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think what's happened, I can't remember the principle, but maybe Robert, you know this one. The size of the chip doubled in speed so often, and that made
Yeah,
this
Moore's law.
ability to get smaller.
Yeah, Moore's law.
Technology developed using Moore's law.
Moore's law. Okay,
I think it was every 4 years.
but I think we determined we can't continue that trajectory still today. Is that right?
No, we are even faster moving to new technologies, very fast.
Yeah.
The
So
next,
technologies
the
can,
procrastinators say, I have a book written by these brainiacs, a Max Tegmark, his name, Tegmark, Max Tegmark. It's called Life 3.0, where these computer brainiacs, technological brainiacs, are talking about the future. And the best way to describe what is going to happen in the future is you ain't seen anything yet in technology development. So the fact, to dramatize the point, the whole point about this book, think about, just visualize in your mind, Bob is going to work in the HR office, but his avatar is going for him. He's still at home, but he goes there. His avatar goes and sits on his desk in the office, and his co-workers all come, but their avatars are all coming because they're all still at home, but their avatars are physically showing up. Now the avatars are going to talk to each other and relate to each other. Actually, Bob is going to relate to his co-worker, both of whom are remote, but they're going to interact with their avatars. Now, take your mind and think about human risk capital management, human relationships, human resources. It is a completely different ballgame.
yeah,
Let's get ready, folks. It's a completely different working ballgame.
our organizations are full of workers, right? And as these technologies keep improving, some of these workers' skills are expiring. We no longer need somebody to do calculations on a slide rule calculator because Excel does it automatically. And so the idea of a reskilling challenge, these employees are going to have to update their skills or be completely reskilled to stay relevant in the workforce and to bring value to their companies.
Before you go, this picture, imagine this picture. All of these human beings sitting in one room. They are not there. They are there, but they are not there. The avatars are sitting just like this. These pictures you're seeing is their avatars. It's not the real human being. The human being is there, but not there. That's the nature of work in the future. The
Wow.
employees you are saying who are going to come to work are going to come to work, but in the virtual world. Doesn't that blow your mind with respect to how employee relations, people management will have to be conducted in the future? It really blows the mind. And our book is the first step to explaining this new work world. Okay, because we for sure what Bill is talking about, digital world, virtual world, automation. Okay, technology is going to change of how human beings relate to each other in the world of work, which is which is really dramatized by the fact, listeners, this is really dramatized to the fact that three of us professors at the same university for 1.5 years we have been working on this book exactly like what we are doing today. I am in Northern California, Lincoln. He's in Bakersfield, California, Central California, and Bob is in Southern California, LA region. We are not physically together, but we are together virtually, and we have to work together virtually. Now, place your mind in a human resource. Bring your human resource mind together. Will the traditional concepts of employee relations work in this world? in this new world? I don't think so. We have to have new paradigms, new work processes, new ways of relating to each other, new ways to working as teams, in teams, new ways of communication, new ways of supervision, new ways of management. This book that we have written is the first attempt to create a blueprint for this new world.
Hey, Bill, you asked if Moore's law was still relevant, and
Yeah,
Moore's law came out about 1965, somewhere in the early 60s, and it actually said every 2 years things were going to double. The transistors were going to double in speed every 2 years. I think now, from what I remember, it's down to like 1.8. So it's getting faster,
faster.
not
Wow.
not slower. So the pace of change in technology and human resources, people are becoming, or the now like the slowest component of this whole thing. We
Wow.
we have to make things work faster.
Yeah, and we also, Dr. Ball, you're talking about we live in different places, we work. I've been working from home since December of 2018. Most people understand what remote work is today. I actually, in writing the book, I found an article about Marissa Mayer, the former CEO of Yahoo. And before the pandemic, she came in as CEO and ended remote work. It said that we get more done when we all come to the office. We can collaborate a lot better. And then a few years go by, and most companies are thinking remote work's not ideal. They start going away from that policy. COVID-19 hits, now everybody has to remote work. And so we see more people than ever doing remote work. The picture on the screen here, the left side is somebody's home office. On the right side is actually a YouTuber named Nomadic Fanatic. He is hugely popular. He lives in his RV year round. He travels around the country and he makes YouTube videos, and that's how he makes his living. And so there's more and more people that are doing this type of remote work. What are other versions of remote work that you guys have heard about?
Well, we've got more and more people doing remote work all the time. People are just uh, not wanting to drive to work and wanting to have that flexibility in their life. And their employees are now asking for remote work. And if their company is not providing it, they're willing to leave their job in order to find a job that's going to give them more flexibility so they can do more remote work. So it's in high demand right now. And if we want to keep the top talent, then we need to provide that flexibility and let them work remotely. So
I think it's even more aggressive, if I can find the right word. Employers, people specialists, who the new term for human resource professionals, have to realize the very nature of work has changed. So the employment contract, employee employer contract, has to be revisited, and then categories of employees have to change, because in the old days of work, you were employed by an employer for a period of time. In the old days, it was lifetime, but lifetime vanished. Lifetime employment with a single employer has vanished.
mhm.
Okay? And more workers don't expect to be at all attached to an employer, at all attached to any employer. They want to work when they want to work, where they want to work. That is the nomadic,
We're also calling that the gig economy.
we
And
call the gig economy.
yeah,
What
Bill,
was this guy called? The YouTube guy, nomadic fanatic or something?
Nomadic Fanatic.
yeah,
Yeah.
Bill,
He
how would you define the gig economy?
Yeah. And we'll be talking about that in a future episode, but the gig worker, the gig economy is um, for those of you that remember temp work, temporary workers or contract workers, it includes all that as well. Somebody that is working at a job part time. And I have a picture of the Amazon Prime truck on the bottom left here. You guys might not be aware, but you can do a short term contract working at an Amazon facility. You sign on for 6 weeks at a time or whatever that it may be. You are not a permanent employee, but you can choose how often you work and when you work. One of Nomadic Fanatic's friends, in fact, he travels the country and picks up contracts at Amazon facilities all over the country, does that job for a while, makes money, and then moves on. And so you can choose to work at an Amazon facility for, say, 2 months, save up a bunch of money, and then take off 2 months. And so, really, what you're saying, Robert, is a gig work. A gig worker is someone who says, I want to work now, and that doesn't mean we have a contract in the future. Much like my cousin, he's here in Bakersfield. He's in a band called the Dirty Pool Blues Band, and they play gigs on Friday and Saturday nights at local restaurants and bars. And just because he plays this Friday night at a particular restaurant doesn't mean he's going to do it next weekend as well. He can choose, like most bands do, what gigs they want to play. Well, that's expanded tremendously because of technology, because of the way work is changed. People can do many more jobs now as a gig worker, just like my cousin. He plays harmonica, pretty awesome harmonica player. But Nomadic Fanatic's a gig worker too, right? He can choose to stop making videos if he wants. He doesn't have a job that someone's paying him to make videos. He makes videos when he wants to. He makes money when he produces those videos, and when he doesn't produce videos, he doesn't get paid. Same as a Uber driver, they can choose to drive people all day long if they want. They could work 5 days a week. They could work 1 day a week. So it's really the worker deciding when they want to work.
My wife is a
Let me dramatize it for you guys. I have a former student called David Fay. He's a very senior HR person. Recently, when I was looking for him on LinkedIn, I found that he is engaged. Mark the choice of my word, engaged in with a company called Countsy. Countsy, Countsy. Yeah. And what does Countsy do? Countsy is a platform for finance, accounting, and HR professionals to find what they call it on-demand CFOs and CPOs, Chief People Officer. So even at the highest level executive jobs, there is no regular full-time work anymore.
yeah.
These people, like David, is on this platform when a startup or young company needs a people officer or human resource officer. They dial up Countsy, and Countsy finds people like David who's on their database and sends them on a gig.
Yep.
So the gig economy is not just for Uber workers, Bill. It's all the way up to the top.
My wife is a nurse, and she knows a lot of traveling nurses. So basically, they're in the gig economy. They get short-term contracts to travel to different cities. Could be Hawaii, could be wherever they have a new outflow of the pandemic. So they'll take on a contract for 2 weeks, 2 months, travel to that location, get paid well, but it's just a short-term contract.
I have a friend called Beverly. Wow. She's a traveling nurse consultant. She is a traveling nurse, but senior, who has an MBA and a business degree. So she is a traveling nurse consultant. Like a hospital needs somebody with expertise to reorganize their OR operating room.
Hmm.
They will find Beverly, who comes into a city where that hospital is located, situates herself in a hotel for a couple of months, reorganizes their OR, completes that task, and then goes to her next gig. So the gig economy and the way we work is not just at drivers, entry level Uber drivers, or Prime Amazon Prime drivers. It's all throughout the job hierarchy right now. Therefore, again, there is a complete need to rethink about how people management, human resource management, we have called people specialists, are going to operate in this new world of work. That is what our book is all about.
Yeah, one of the most
Therefore, it's a must read, by the way, Bill.
absolutely one of the challenging things of the way nature of work has changed to many of us seems like a new thing. Automation, machine learning, AI, these types of machines that are taking over the young Dr. Bob with his slide rule calculator. We're saying we don't need those people anymore. We can automate. So you're saying we need people specialists. Meanwhile, companies are saying we need to automate. So what is the role of people specialists in the world of automation?
They still need people specialists, Bill, but they don't need to, the employer doesn't need to put them on their payroll. They can hire them when they need them, where they need them, and for what they need them. They are on demand employees. This digitization and technology has changed the nature of work. Coronavirus has introduced to the world of work a new urgency, the urgency of public health, concerns about public health, transmission of diseases, etc., that has crept into the work environment. So now companies are those companies who still have physical offices are making massive changes. I'm a member of the Financial Executives Institute, which is an association of CFOs and chief accounting officers. In one of the meetings, the entire discussion among the CFOs were how to reorganize the office layout, the office ingress and outgress, to be conscious about spreading infectious diseases. That's a new phenomenon in the workplace, you know? And also how to lay out the office ergonomically so that people work more effectively and efficiently. And a new concept of office design, which when I worked for PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, this was quite prevalent. Now, many companies, including our own university, is talking about office layout called hoteling. Hoteling. Bob will have an office in his campus location. From now on, in our university, he will have an office, but he doesn't have a permanent office. When he goes into work, into the campus, he checks in the receptionist. The receptionist assigns him to a workplace for that day only. The computers will be set up for him in that workspace for that day only. Okay. His computer, office computer will be configured for only one day. So he will check into a work hotel space. Think about this. This is so different from the way I started working. Even a few years ago, I had a specific office space on the campus where I used to go to. No more. They have disbanded all of that. It's all open space hoteling. And many companies are using this because sitting in the job in an office space doesn't exist anymore.
So you seem pretty excited about the future, Dr. Bob. You've seen the most change, and typically people's attitude towards change is to complain about it or maybe try to hold on to the past. And Robert, same with you. How do you see Robert as a way for us to live in this changing nature of work? How do we survive? How do
I
we
think we have to
thrive?
go with the game plan. We don't have a choice. We have to go with the game plan, with the change. That's why we teach so many change management classes. We have to keep up with all the environmental changes. Go ahead, Bob, before I go to another factor that is creating change for us.
Employees need to learn skills that are going to be the future skills that we need. And because working in the gig economy is all about what skill set you have. So if you're a programmer, those certifications you get, C++, down the line, you're going to want to collect and learn and have that skill set to show your new employee that you've kept up with your education, you've kept up with technology, because they're going to be looking for those skills in order to get a particular job done that they need to get done. So employees need to really think about the skills that they need to continue to learn and that they continue to, they're going to have to market their own skills. They're going to have to market themselves. And
Dr.
I
Bob?
think,
Dr. Bob, what do you think? You said you have another area of this that's an issue.
The other big area is the demographic composition of the workforce is dramatically different, with a lot of older people leaving the workforce, younger people, and Gen Zs, millennials, the numbers of them are increasing, and they have a completely different attitude towards work. They don't want to commit their life to the humdrum and routine of a regular job. They want to work when they want to work, where they want to work, how they want to work. Okay. So the numbers of younger people are increasing. Intergenerational workplace. Okay. More and more intergenerational workplaces and ethnically diverse work compositions, gender equality in the workplace, all of these challenges, diversity, equity, inclusion, all of these challenges, changes are affecting the workplace. That's another impetus for complete change of how we manage the people side of the business. Okay.
well, you brought out two quick points. 10,000 baby boomers retire every day from the workforce. And the younger workforce, they don't want the same thing as the older workforce, which was the baby boomers. The younger ones, as you said, they want that flexibility. They don't necessarily want to be in an office. So
Yeah,
it's
and
just
we could as
change.
employers try to force Gen Z into the model of the baby boomer worker, and say, well, I don't want to hire this person. They want to leave so quick, or I don't want to do this or that. Um, you'll find as an organization that more and more you're going to have a higher turnover rate. You're going to have people you're going to have it harder to hire people. And so you could fight these changes all you want. You could fight, digitization. You could fight against COVID restrictions and things like this. But eventually, the world is gonna pass you by, and really, I think the key impact that we want to leave with people is that as people leaders, we need to find ways to help people embrace that change, to ride that wind, to get in front of it, so that companies can thrive in this new world.
Bill, I want to make a point here. One of the changes I talked about is this new public health situation which COVID-19 ushered in, the new way of dealing with mass diseases. Okay. These new practices that came into the workplace, like I said, reorganizing the office space, etc., is a permanent feature now, because COVID-19 is not the only pathogen that is going to affect the world. Okay, because the world is so connected, travel is so frequent. Okay, everybody is going all over the place. Other pathogens are going to spread around. So the phenomenon of the new public health consciousness in the workplace is not going to change. It was going to be part of the new people management model. And we cover that in our book quite a bit, that this phenomenon, the public health crisis that COVID-19 focused on, is made us aware of this existential crisis threat of pathogens going around the world. Another strain of the SARS virus might pop up one day, and we'll be facing the same challenges. So we have to prepare our workplace for these existential challenges coming from public health issues. Because we are a very connected world, travel is frequent, and people are moving all over the world. Migration is all over the world, you know, people moving around. And I call global migration, people moving from country to country, people moving from continents to continents. No immigration laws, no thing is going to stop this from happening. You can build the highest wall you can think of on the American border, okay? Maybe a 5 mile high wall. You still will have illegal people coming in. They might fly over the wall, by the way, to get here. So this these existential threats and challenges have to be institutionalized in the new model, in the new work model. And I see trends of that happening. People are discussing how they're going to change the workplace to meet these existential challenges, which haven't gone away. The more of it will come. Digitization, public health crisis, the demographic changes, rapid demographic changes, and lastly, our contaminated environment, to put it bluntly, okay? And more companies are concerned about environmental sustainability, having a green footprint, and I think being conscious about the green footprint and practicing safe practices with respect to environmental sustainability is a human effort. It's a human resource effort. It's a people resource asset. So people specialization or human resource management will have to inculcate the green footprint into the work processes and human resource policies and practices. So these are four massive changes that are affecting the workplace and that we talk about in our book.
Robert, any last thoughts?
Yeah, in order to move forward, we definitely have to understand where we've been and where we need to get to. So in our book we look at the whole picture. We look at the history of work. We look at where we've been and where we are now, and then we defined a solution in our book. So we'll be talking about this in more detail in future podcasts, and I just want to welcome everybody that's been joining us to stay with us and like us and keep listening
and share.
And share. Yeah.
Find us on LinkedIn. Find us on YouTube, on podcasts. Tell your friends, share, like Dr. Bob was saying as well. So thank you both again, and we'll see you guys next time on the New World of Work podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.